Getting data into the hands of the right people may be as simple as giving those people access via the user manager. The goal here is to make sure the right people have access to the right information. We can use this user manager to grant access, but we can also use it to restrict access. Let's take a look. When we log into our account, we see the profiles that are enabled for this account, and below here we see a link to the user manager. When we click into the user manager, we see all the email addresses for the user logins that are currently enabled for this account. We also see the type of user that they are currently at. Here we see a mix of administrators and users. We have the ability over here to edit each of these different logins to change the type of access that we have. And since I'm an administrator, I also have the ability to delete each of these users. We can also use the edit button to see what kind of access the user currently has. For example, let's take a look here at the PPC user. Now in this case, of all the different profiles available to us, on the left-hand side, we see the website profiles that are available but not yet selected for this user. On the right-hand side, we see the profiles that the user currently has access to. In this case, we see that this PPC at WebShare Design, which is our pay-per-click login, has access to the pay-per-click only traffic profile, which makes sense. That's what we want to see when we log in with this user, is pay-per-click traffic. If we wanted to, we can add another profile over by selecting the profile on the left-hand side, clicking the Add button, and saving the changes. At this point, this user would have access to 2 different profiles. We also have the option of adding a new user entirely. In this case, we simply click on the Add User, and we put in the email address of the Google account. Now remember, this has to be a Google account, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Gmail account. In our case, we'll add my own email, Corey. The next option is we have to figure out the access type. We can either view the reports only, in which case we would select which particular profiles we have access to, or the second option is to become an account administrator. The profiles disappears because account administrators have access to all profiles and reports in our account, including those that haven't yet been created yet. Be very careful at how many account administrators you have and make sure that a person really needs to be an account administrator before selecting them to be so, because they have the ability to delete profiles, delete users, and delete the entire actual analytics account itself. Worse yet, at this point there's no audit trail or any other way to figure out how those accounts or profiles were deleted, and so you want to be very careful with who you allow to be an administrator. To add the account, we go ahead and click Save Changes, and we'll see that this account shows up here. If I were to try and add a user that does not have a Google account, let's just say some fake user at websharedesign.com, as soon as I try to save changes, it will tell me that user does not have a Google account. We'll cancel out of this. I also highly suggest you avoid this situation when possible. We have a Gmail account here that's an administrator. In this case, we may know who this person is, but in enterprise of any size, any type of large organization, it can quickly be hard to figure out whose personal address is what, especially if their name is not in the Gmail account. So I'd suggest trying to use Google accounts that have a very easily identifiable name, such as your corporate or organization's email address. These changes take effect immediately, so as soon as you add this user, they'll be able to log in and see all the reports that you've given access to. Adding users allows us to share the benefits of Google Analytics, but put some thought into who you invite and what permissions you grant.